Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Triangle Season 3, Episode 28, and the name of this episode is Onslaught. OMG, y'all. I had to have a stiff drink after watching this episode because so much went down in this episode that it was just, woo! But then we also saw some new things coming up, too, so I'm thinking, wow. And we're getting close to the season finale, so I'm getting the feeling that something crazy is going to happen, and I am here for the ride. But before I get started, I'm going to let you all know, if you haven't done so, you need to do it right now. Subscribe to brtbtv.com. I will have the link in the description box. And also, check out the Triangle Fan Club on Facebook, because you get everything Triangle. You get the latest posts, you get different discussions about the show. You get everything on the Triangle Fan Club. So, brtbtv.com ASAP. And Triangle Fan Club ASAP, because you get everything Triangle, and trust me, if you haven't jumped on board right now, you are seriously missing out a great deal, because Season 3 is amazing. The writing's amazing, the production's amazing, the acting's amazing. It's just Roger and Ebert gives it 2 thumbs up across the board, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, now, the episode opens up. Melanie is at a doctor's office, and she runs into Julian. Now remember, she introduced herself to Julian as Sasha. They have a quick exchange. She's not really trying to deal with him. He's like, I'm trying to get to know you. She's like, well, I'm not trying to get to know you. And, and then he was like, I thought you were in South Africa. Now, we remember the first time they met, he knew nothing about that. So obviously they had met again, and she pretty much disses him and walks away, and he kind of like calls her a bitch under his breath, which pretty much just shows Julian's bitch assness. And when she gets in the elevator, we get a flashback. Her and Julian got it on with each other. I mean, she was riding that thing like a motorbike. So I'm like, damn, Melanie, you was really showing your wild look before you went to Africa. So, she's been with Jarrell, and she's been with Julian. The question is, who the baby daddy? I guess in time we'll find that out. Because if it's Julian, oh, definitely, you're going to have some... I mean, it's going to be a situation anyway, because I think that's going to be a triangle right there. Julian, Jarrell, and Melanie. And to see what's going to happen from there, oh, trust me, I'm here to see what's going to happen with that. But then... we later find out, we see that Melanie talks to Mason. We find out that this pregnancy is pretty much a miracle baby, because due to this condition that she has called FAJ, this is the only possibility she can have a child, and after this she can't have any more children. So, hindsight, she wants to be a mother, but she doesn't want to be a mother right now. But she's kind of like debating, like, maybe I should have this baby. Maybe I should just have the baby and just give it to Jarrell. And Mason flipped the hell out. He's like, oh, hell no. You are not giving that baby to him. That's definitely not happening. Hell, I don't even want that baby around them Davenports at all. So we definitely see that Mason still has it out for the Davenports, and he definitely has it out for Jarrell. And we see a lot with Mason in this episode as well. But he lets Melanie know that you need to tell mom and dad about this, and I think it'll be best coming from you than from me. So that's pretty much how that scene ended. Now the next scene I'm going to talk about is between Mason and Ronnie. Ronnie came there with her hair snatched in a ponytail, and they sit down and they have a conversation. Pretty much, he lets her know about, remember the tech guy Lee, Leesburg. Well, he lets her know that he came up with some interesting developments, and he lets her know that Jabril actually paid Adonis to fall in love with him and break up with him, because he wanted to hurt him for the fact that he knew about little JJ and didn't say anything. So he lets Ronnie know about this, and he lets Ronnie know, yeah, all of this is trickled down because of you. You know, this man wants his son. Where's his son at? And pretty much, you know, Ronnie's like, I don't know where his son is. You know, and she's saying that this crazy. I mean, why would Jabril go out of this way to do this to you? I mean, what is he gaining from this? Good damn question, Ronnie, because we're all wanting the same thing. But in hindsight, Mason pretty much tells Ronnie that, look, this situation is going to get even more messier, and it's going to get even more messier if you're here. So what you need to do is that he tries to give her some money and tells her that she needs to leave town. She laughs her ass off and was like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not going nowhere. And besides, you need to add a little bit more zeros to that. And she says, this money won't even buy me a bag. And Mason was like, well, what you need to do is buy some new hair. And she's like, okay, I'll let you have that one. I'll let you have that. But she let it be known that, look, I'm not going anywhere. It is what it is. And Mason pretty much just goes off like, Ronnie, you are such a fucking pain in the ass. Like, all you do is think about yourself. You know, I'm in all of this crap because of you. And she's like, yeah, and you're benefiting off that life insurance policy because of me. You know, so yeah, okay. And he's like, oh yes, it looks really great, but since you're dead or whatever, you know, life has been great and you need to stay dead. And then he even mentioned to her that, look, it's sad that Kiko is more of a best friend to me than you are. And she said, and then pretty much he was like, look, you need to take this damn money and you need to get out of town. She's like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not taking that money and I'm not leaving town. So what are we going to do? And he's like, look, with a phone call, I could end everything. She said, do it then. And then next thing you know, we get a knock on the door. It's Fallon. Fallon's like, I know Ronnie up in there. Open up the door, Mason. And then all of a sudden, he opened the door for Fallon, and Fallon immediately comes in and is like, wow, I get to see Tales from the Crypt. I was like, oh my God. I was like, Fallon was giving me life. And her and Ronnie are going back and forth. And he's like, and pretty much Fallon's like, look, it's illegal to fake your death. And Fallon was about to call the police, you know, on Ronnie. Mason takes her phone and lets her know, like, you're not calling the police. And he's like, look, this is illegal. Are you crazy? He's like, look, I know it's crazy, but you're not calling the police, because if you call the police, I'm going to tell the media, I'm going to tell the tabloids about your connection to, I'm going to tell about your connection to Christopher Lawson. And then again, Fallon's like, what the hell is this Christopher Lawson business? Why the hell you keep bringing his name up? And Mason was like, look, I know so much that it will crush your whole world. And I know you don't want me to tell this in front of Ronnie. So he excuses Ronnie, and he sits down and he lets her know about Christopher Lawson. He tells her that Christopher Lawson and Tessa were lovers. And, you know, Barron was gone a lot, you know, on business. So her and Christopher Lawson were messing around all the way up till the day that her and Barron got married, and then 9 months later, she was born. So therefore, is she Barron's son, or is she Christopher Lawson's son? So he's like, oh yeah, you know, that would really be a story to find out that you're not really a Davenport, and it would be crazy for that to get out. So leave Ronnie alone. Ronnie is only a small fish in the pond in which you're swimming in. So you need to leave this alone. And you know, Fallon is like, why would she tell you this? And what the hell is going on? And he pretty much lets her know that Tessa brought it up to him when she was a client at the beauty bar. And I think we saw that in season 2. And then, you know, he had said that when, you know, at the engagement party for Jabril and Brandon, she got so drunk that she opened up and talked about it again. So Mason is using this as a wild card to control Fallon, and he lets her know, go talk to your mother. Clear it up, and hopefully the next time we meet, it'll be on better circumstances. So we see that, Fallon leaves, and then Mason fucking laughs. And I'm like, Mason, you gonna eat that shit, because little do you know, we know how Tessa can get down. I mean, if y'all watch season 1 and season 2, we know how Tessa can roll. So I'm like, you done threw Tessa out there? Yeah, Mason, I'm scared for your ass. I ain't gonna fucking lie. So, we notice, that goes down. Then, we see that Fallon goes all the way to Georgia to confront Tessa. They go back and forth, and they have this explosive argument, and I have to say kudos to Christina Porter and Deborah Furman. You ladies delivered in that scene, because we saw the last time we saw them together, they were at a good place, and now they're back at being rivalries all over again because of this situation. So Tessa explains that she explains this to Fallon, that Christopher Lawson was her true love, but he was a blue-collar guy. He was just an ordinary man. She chose Baron because Baron could give them a better life, but she really was in love with Christopher Lawson. So she pretty much said that, yeah, it's a possibility. But at the end of the day, you are Baron's child, and you are a Davenport. It is what it is. But Fallon is just so over it. She's like, but she said that, I'm going to get in touch with Mason, and I'm going to handle that. Maybe next time this bitch will learn to keep his mouth shut. And she's like, I've done it before, I'll do it again. And then Fallon was like, don't try to make excuses of the fact that you're a whore. And she's like, you know what, you little bitch. I'm getting sick of your shit. You act like a big fucking child. I need you to put on your big girl fucking panties and learn to calm the fuck down, because when you get riled or you kind of get all in your feelings, you always do something to fuck something up. And we know this as to be a trait from Fallon, because when Fallon's mad, Fallon goes ape shit. So she says, I got it handled. But then Fallon's like, okay, handle it. But I'm going to find out who my father is. She says, well, if that's important to you, go do what you got to do. And she's like, yeah, and I'm going to make sure that when I get back, you will pay for what you've done to me. Because she says, out of everything you've done to me, this is the far worst. So I'm like, oh, shit. Shit is just really gotten crazy. Next, I'm going to talk about a really big meaty scene in this episode, and this is involving Jabril and Alex. When first we see that Alex comes to Jabril's office, he signs some forms, to kind of help finalize supposedly the auction of the artwork. And he begins to kind of tell him about Brandon, about what's been going on with Brandon, and we can see in Alex's face that Alex is very uneasy having this conversation with Jabril. But Jabril doesn't go too far in depth, but we can look in Jabril's face. Jabril is ready to fucking rip Alex's head off. So he is not playing. So he's pretty much asking him, well, did you know this? How did you know the signs? He's like, well, I kind of noticed things with him that he was different, but but then he said, thank you for letting me know about Brandon's drug problem. I'm glad that that you were able to get close to him to find out what was going on. And then he says, okay, but he says, but that's all for now. We'll definitely talk more later. So he ends up leaving. And we can see on Jabril's face, Jabril is ready for blood. Next, we see that he talks to Dr. Sharon Chase, and pretty much he got her suspended from the medical board, so she can't practice. So she can't, practice her profession. And he pretty much, let her know that, and he's like, yeah, I definitely did that shit because of your negligence. My husband is now in rehab because you decided to prescribe him, and I wonder how many other patients you've done this to. And she's like, you know what? You are such a fucking idiot, because at the end of the day, you know, I thought you were a nice person, and all of a sudden you just being real cruel to me. He's like, yeah, I am a nice person until I'm fucked with, you know, because, you know, when someone takes an action, I react to it. So all I see is action and reaction. And she's like, well, one thing you want to know is that, your nephew, and she kind of said it in a scenario that, you know, a guy came in here and kind of dropped, you know, a birdie on my lap about his uncle. And about, you know, he feels uncomfortable because, you know, his uncle's husband is coming on to him. And his uncle's been there for him since he got shot. And he doesn't want to get in the middle of it because he's afraid that his uncle is going to choose his husband over him. So Jabril shut it down like, bitch, cut the bullshit. I know exactly who you're talking about. So she said that, yeah. So if you want to talk about snakes, you need to look in your own damn backyard, because that's where they are. And she was like, you know what? You know, you're just sad. And eventually, you know, he dismisses her, and they go on in their own different ways, because Jabril right now is mad as hell at Dr. Sharon. So afterwards, we see that he confronts Julian about it, and he already had an situation with Julian earlier, because Julian is being so amped about him pushing this deal that he wanted to go meet about in New York. And Jabril was like, first of all, I know if you think you're gonna come at, it's one thing to come at your mother like that, but you ain't gonna come at me like that. First of all, you live under my house. And at the end of the day, when I need to give you feedback, I will give it to you. So sit your ass down. But then the second time around, he's like, what the fuck are you doing telling Dr. Sharon about Brandon? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, don't fucking play with me. Because how is it that she knew every damn thing about you? So I know you fucking told her. He's like, well, I don't know. The reason why I did is because I was afraid that, you know, everything was crazy around here, and I just didn't want to get involved. And he's like, see, something about this situation ain't adding up to me. Because why the fuck would you tell a complete stranger everything there is to know about you? Why would you do that? You know, what's your aim? And he's like, and as a matter of fact, I'm not fooling your ass either. So, you know what? He's like, well, I look at your ass right now, you forget I know your mother, and I'm seeing her all through you right now. And he's like, I'm nothing like that woman. He's like, as much as you are in denial, you are a Davenport. So get your shit and get the fuck out of my house. And then Julian charged back, is like, yeah, okay, you better watch your back. And he's like, with who and what army? And he's like, you'll see. So I'm like, oh shit, Julian. Julian definitely probably does got something going on. But now Jabril is on to Julian, and we're going to find out even more so. Because later on, we see that Jabril, let me say it like this. Alex comes home to his domicile. He was about to, you know, make himself some green tea. But the tea is that Jabril is sitting in his apartment. Just like, oh, we got some unfinished business, you know, Alex. You need to tell me more about Brandon. And Alex is like, look, you know, this is like really inappropriate, so I think you need to leave. You know, I think you need to get out. He's like, and Jabril was like, no, you need to get out. He's like, excuse me? He says, you know those papers you signed? But first, before I get into that, one, you're in my house. This ain't your house. I own the fucking building. And those papers you signed earlier, one of them, you signed the termination of your lease. Then, you know, you also signed your rights to the art, to the art collection. So now I own everything. So we see that went down. So, and then he says that, yeah, and there is no auction. So I own everything, and now you're going to tell me what I need to know about Brandon and, about, how is it that you was all up in my face when you fucked my husband? And Alex thinks he's going to run away, and Jabril pulls out a gun. He's like, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to give me the answers that I'm looking for, and you're going to tell me everything that I need to know. So he's like, so why did you, so you're going to tell me, why did you fuck my husband? And he's like, I didn't have sex with your husband. I just made him think we did. All I did was supply the drugs, and that was it. Boom! Jabril's like, you are the one who was giving him the drugs. He's like, yeah, I used, a doctor's prescription. And he's like, Dr. Chase. So now he knows that Dr. Chase had nothing to do with it, that it was all Alex, and he used that situation, saying that they slept together to keep Brandon under his thumb. So immediately he was like, you know what? I can fucking kill you right now. He's like, you can't kill me. You're gonna really do that? And he's like, no. See, you don't understand. I pretty much called for this building to be exterminated, so the only people in here are me and you. I can shoot you dead right now and no one will hear it. So you need to tell me everything I need to know, or it's your ass. Now, tell me what I need to know. And then he's like, look, your nephew Julian knew everything. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, Julian knew everything. He knew about me setting Brandon up, and he was kind of in on it. And he's like, why would he do that? He said, because he wants to destroy you. He wants to destroy the family. He wants the Davenports to suffer. So he's like, so immediately Jabril is like, you mean to tell me I fucking opened my home to this motherfucker and this is what he does? Oh, hell no. And then he pretty much tells Alex to get the fuck out. And we see that Alex was shook. And then he makes a call and says that he just left. Grab his ass, and we'll figure out what to do with him later. So Alex didn't even make it out the building. So I'm like, Jabril gave me life in that moment, because I was like, yo, that's how you boss up on somebody. You not only buy their building, but then you get them to sign off on the rights to their wealth. So Alex don't have jack. And I was so here for it because Alex had did so much crap this whole fucking season since we met him. So I'm happy that Alex got his. It was long overdue. And then we see that Jabril again meets with Dr. Chase afterwards, and they pretty much clarify everything. But then he says that, what Alex said about him faking it with Brandon and that him and Brandon didn't really have sex, I don't know if I believe that. But Sharon confirms it. It's true. He pretty much said that Brandon was high on drugs. He went to sleep, and when he woke up, he made them think that they had sex, so he can kind of keep them as a bargaining chip or whatever. And he's like, I don't believe it. And then Sharon was like, look, if you want to believe your husband cheated, that's on you. But it wasn't with Alex. So now we see that Jabril is starting to gravel the fact that here it is, he done did all that with Derek, and Brandon never cheated. But then he tells Dr. Chase that he's going to call the medical board and get them to revoke her suspension so she can continue to practice her career. So we saw that. Then we got this situation. We see that Mason had a short meeting with Suki. Suki pretty much lets Mason know that, look, we cannot handle the amount of clients and business. We need Kiko back. You need to work it out with Kiko, and you need to get that straightened off. You need to get that straightened up, because we need her. And he says, and I, for one, am the last person you would think would say we need Kiko, but we need Kiko. And then the next thing you know, we see Suki in that church wig serving Eartha Kitt keys, by coming on the Masons like, I don't have any panties on. And Mason's like, get the hell out of my house. What the hell is wrong with you? Took his wine and poured it in his glass like, get the hell up out of here. But then Cindy's like, call Kiko. So we see that him and Kiko meet up. We see that Kiko has had her breast enhancement and she looked gorge. And both of them are going back and forth, and he pretty much apologizes to her by not telling her that Ronnie was alive, and that it was just never a good time to tell her that, and that he really does miss her, and he values her friendship, and, and that, he really wants to, that he apologized for keeping that from her. She forgives him, and they're now back as friends, but she's still not fucking with Brandon. But, next thing you know, they're having a conversation, and within this conversation, then he asked her that he wanted her to come back to work, and she's like, first of all, I just had surgery, and I need time to myself right now. So that is kind of selfish that you would ask me to come back to work after what I've been through. And he's like, yeah, you're right. But she says, I'll see what I can do, but I'm only coming back part-time, because we know that Kiko's trying to do her own thing as well. But then she drops the ball and lets it be known that guess who came by my apartment the other day? Troy. And he's like, Troy's supposed to be in Boston with his mother. His mother never said anything about being in Easton. And he's like, well, let me put it like this. He came over here telling me that Sean owes him money, and then but then even worse, I went to Sean's house, to his aunt's house earlier the other day, and guess who happened to be up in there? Clint, my fucking father. And I come to find out, Sean works for him. He told me that they be like flipping houses and whatever. But then when Troy came in and he said that he works with Sean also, so I'm like, so you mean you flipping houses too? And he's like, oh nah. They're escorting, Mason. Yes. Your nephew and Sean are both escorting, and they work for my father. So Mason is completely blown, like, what the fuck is this shit? You mean to tell me that my damn nephew is out here selling his ass? Are you fucking kidding me? He's like, yeah. He came right up in here and decided to do a performance and told me everything about what they up to. So, yeah, your nephew is out here escorting, and he's like, well, he's supposed to be with his mother. He's like, yeah, but obviously he never left. So, yeah, you need to kind of, like, find out where he is and handle that. But, yeah, that's going on. So then we see her and Sean, Kiko and Sean meet up, and that shit was explosive too. And I want to say shout out to every person on this cast, because every single person in this episode delivered beyond, and I was so here for it. But Kiko and Sean, she pretty much says that, is there something you want to tell me? Because a little birdie done came by and dropped something about your job or whatever. Him probably thinking that probably Clint told her something, and that's what he's thinking he's going off. And he's like, look, yeah, I had sex with Clint, but it was before I knew he was your dad. And she's like, what? You did what? And he's like, oh, you didn't know about that? What was you going to talk about? And she said escorting. So not only are you out here selling your ass, but you fucked my father. And he was like, look, it was before I knew he was your father. But once I found out, I cut it off. There's nothing like that going on between us now. But he's like, look, I needed to make fast money to get up out of Easton. So he's like, so you decided to sell your body, sell your dick in your ass. You chose to humiliate yourself, to make fast money. And he's like, Kiko, you know what the fuck you talking about. So she's like, well, ask me this. Who's fucking who? And he's like, Kiko, that ain't none of your business. She's like, don't fuck with me. Who's fucking who? And he didn't ask the question. She's like, oh, so you just a big old power bottom, huh? You know what? You will never touch me or be with me ever again. This is the end. Now get the fuck out of my house before I kill you. And next we see that she pulls out a damn knife and she lets it be known I will slit your fucking throat. So this is what you can do. You can leave on your own accord, or you can leave today in a fucking body bag. I'm done with your ass. I loved you from the heart of me. I would have done anything for your ass. And this is what you do. You not only fucked around with Troy. I was willing to let that go, but then you fucked my father. That has crossed the line for me. And we literally seen Sean crying, like, because he really does love Kiko. And Kiko is just hurt beyond comparison. So he backs up and he ends up leaving. So that scene was explosive, because I did not see that coming. I mean, I knew that she was going to finally confront him, but I didn't know it was going to have that much energy and that much trauma. Woo! Then we get the last scene of the episode between Mason calls his sister-in-law and gets in touch with Troy. He invites Troy over and begins to ask him, like, and he pretty much lets Troy know that I talked to Kiko today, and she let me know that that you and Sean are escorting. And then, Troy goes into this like, I'm doing what I do. Hey, I'm out here being an entrepreneur, doing what I gotta do, making moves. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, no Hawkins is gonna be out here selling their body. He's like, man, you act like we like a fucking dynasty or some shit. Who fucking cares? He's like, first of all, like, I thought I sent your ass home back to Boston. So what the hell you doing? When the hell did you get back in Easton? And when did you start becoming an escort? And he pretty much says that, look, I've been rejected. When my mother found out that I was gay, since I've been out the closet, my life ain't been the same. And Mason was like, nigga, you ain't never come out the closet. If anything, I didn't know until I found you upstairs fucking Sean in your room. Then you pretty much leave here. I drop you off at the bus station, and now we're come to find out that you've been out here escorting and shit. He's like, oh, and you talking big shit right now. So, okay. I wonder what your mother thinks about this. I'm calling your mother and your grandmother. And he's like, whoa. You ain't calling no motherfucking body. And he literally snatches the phone from Mason, and he says that if you call them, I will let them know how you used to touch me when I was a little boy. And also Mason's like, man, ain't nobody gonna believe that shit. He's like, yeah, they will. Because even though you know that it's not the truth, they'll believe it. So your little plan that you got to shut me down, you need to flush that down the drain. And I was like, holy shit. The same type of shit that he used on Sean, he used on his own damn uncle. I'm like, this motherfucker is crazy. It made me look at Troy in a different way, like, yo, Troy is not to be fucked with. And then Mason's like, oh my God, the Antichrist, Damien Omen. I cannot believe I'm looking at it right in my face. And Troy's like, look, you can call it whatever you want, but you're not going to fuck up my hustle. So he pretty much, get the hell out, trash. Why don't you go find you a John and maybe get you a shirt, and instead of you wearing a shirt with holes in it, But it was a designer shirt though. It was kind of cute. And he's like, yeah, and I hope them Johns shut their door on your face. And he was like, oh, they never will shut the door on this. Love your uncle. I was like, Ray Potts did the damn thing in that scene, because when he said that, love your uncle, and left, I was like, boy, you is crazy as shit. And it's like, he's got the same type of sinister evil that Clint has. So I would say between Clint and Troy, he met his match. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen with Troy down the line, being a part of the escort world. So that's my review, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of Triangle. So until then, everybody, take care.